In the nation's capital, our Paulo Barcelona now joins us live. Paulo, how are New Year preparations from where you're at?
Well, good evening and Happy New Year to you, Ruth. It's quiet here in this part of Tondo as we await the beginning of 2021. 6 hours before the start of the new year, we are seeing people just preparing for their New Year's Eve celebrations at home. Some communities such as Barangay 181 Zone 16 decided to hold a raffle draw at the town hall instead of the usual street party to avoid mass gatherings. Others, such as here in Barangay 259 and 250 Zone 23, decided to forego big gatherings and buy relief goods instead to donate to victims of Typhoon Odette. Officers from the Manila Police District went around the city to warn people about the dangers of firecracker use. We just joined the team from the Padre Algue Police Community Precinct who reminded residents about the local government's policy on firecracker use. Just like last year, households here in the nation's capital are not allowed to use firecrackers, and the use of pyrotechnics is limited to community fireworks displays. The Manila local government says community firecracker permits must be secured before they're allowed to conduct such displays. Back to you, Ruth.
Paulo Barcelona there reporting live from Manila. Happy New Year to you guys. In other news, the Cusi faction of ruling party PDP Laban files a petition to reopen the filing of certificates of candidacy for the 2022 elections. The petition was filed earlier today before the Commission on Elections. It also includes a motion to postpone or suspend the printing of ballots. In a statement, PDP Laban Secretary General Melvin Matibag explains there are several cases affecting candidates and party lists still pending before the COMELEC. As of November 25th, there are a total of 89 petitions for the cancellation of various candidate seats. These include those filed against presidential aspirant Bongbong Marcos. There's also a petition questioning the legitimacy of the two factions of PDP Laban. Keep it here on CNN Philippines to get the stories as they happen. I'm Ruth Cabal. Happy New Year.
I grew up singing Jose Marichan songs, and I know them by heart and like the back of my hand. And it wasn't just my generation, but so many others, including yours, I'm sure. So when JMC began to write his Christmas carols, everyone, and we mean everyone, couldn't help but grow very attached to them. And so in this CNN Philippines Christmas tradition, we have, again, Mr. Jose Marichan, or Tito Joe, and his children, Liza, Joe, Michael, Franco, and Angelica on Newsnight. Good evening and Merry Christmas to everybody. Hi, Liza. Hi, Tito Joe, Joe, Michael, Franco, and Angelica. Thank you so much for being here, in spite of the fact that it's just Lisa here in the studio because of pandemic protocol. So let's begin with this. I wanted to ask about 2021. What big things, challenges, events happened in your lives in 2021? We'll begin first with Lisa and then go to the others who are joining us via Zoom. Lisa.
The challenge for me was really trying to manage the fact that I had a son who graduated from high school. Education, as you know, has been primarily online still. And it was difficult for my son because he was a graduating senior, so he missed a lot of the milestones that most seniors will have, like a live graduation and a prom and so many things. Even his exams were not done online. So that was one of the bigger challenges. And then not being able to get together with family as often as we would have liked, or, our family isn't even so large, but whenever we do get together, until now, we don't do it all together in the same house on the same day. We'll usually have to split it. My family will be there on one night, and then let's say Joe will come on another night with his family, and so we haven't had a large one. That's one of the challenges.
But you're still grateful, right? I mean, in spite of everything that's happened,
yes.
There are things that still made us happy, no?
Yes. And I'm grateful to see how everyone, regardless of their where they are or where they're coming from, has tried really their best to adapt. And I'm especially grateful for the teachers in my children's schools, because I see that they have tried their hardest to continue to make learning possible for my children and to make them not so traumatized, I guess, by the fact that we're still in the middle of a pandemic.
Let's ask Tito Joe and Joe, Michael, Franco, and Angelica the same question. Tito Joe, hi, Merry Christmas to you. Again, like I said, tradition, we can't do away with this. We always have to have this every Christmas. So for you, Tito Joe, and your other kids who are joining us via Zoom, what are you grateful for in 2021? What are those big things, big events that happened in your life in the last year?
Well, first of all, Pia, I want to thank you sincerely for having us every year, year after year. And, it's something that we look forward to every year. But to answer your question, the biggest challenge for me is running the business remote control. I have not flown to the south. I have not flown to Negros nor to Iloilo in 2 years. And, I talk to my people on the phone every day, 6 or 7 times a day. And then, of course, as Lisa mentioned, the challenge is getting the family together, because especially Christmas time, because to me, Christmas, the joy of Christmas is doubled when you spend it with your family. And it's tripled when you have your grandchildren with you. And thank God, Mary Ann and I have now been blessed with 8 grandchildren.
8. Okay, Michael, what about you?
Yeah, Pia, of course, COVID took center stage this year as well as last year. So I'm just grateful that our family are still in relatively good health, and we still have a chance, although not as often, to get together. So I'm grateful for those special moments.
Angelica? Angelica?
To say the same thing as Mike, COVID and its associated challenges has been very difficult for everyone. But I am very grateful for the old friendships and family that have managed to help and nurture the relationships and withstand test of time, test of distance, and new friendships that have developed despite the remoteness and isolation that we face today.
I was about to say the same thing, old and new friendships. Especially those you meet online. And I think there's a line you always say, and I say to them, I hope to meet you when this pandemic is over or when things are not as restricted. What about Joe, ikaw? The younger Joe.
Yeah. Pia, I would say that the biggest challenge is also what they were saying. So safety, keeping our families safe, and the schooling as well for the kids. So we have a daughter who we had to send abroad. So we took her there, and we're in constant communication with her, making sure that she's also practicing, distancing and staying safe as well.
Wow. So extra challenging, syempre, no? We're not just parang there's not just distance here, even if you're in the same country, but when you have family members abroad and sending the kids abroad, no, it's like what? Parang tearing you apart from them. Franco, what about you?
Very similar, Pia. I think the challenge really has been on a daily basis to try to find, to not lose the hope, I guess. In many ways, we still find ways, to laugh. And I think that always livens the spirit. Despite, as my dad said, it has been 2 years. We didn't think we'd get this far. I mean, we didn't think that 2 years. We'd always think that, maybe tomorrow will be better. But, in many ways, that sort of hopeful mentality, I guess, has sort of kept all of us and sustained all of us, which I think is a good thing. It's both a challenge and I guess a blessing, just to keep that hope.
Mm-hmm. Extra challenging, but still, like you said, a extra blessing. Syempre, like I was saying earlier, people look forward to your dad's songs, no, Tito Joe. People look forward to your songs, no, every Christmas, and not just in Christmas, no. So, and it was interesting the way you guys were able to, for like Christmas 2020, to do quarantine recordings, right? So, Tito Joe, just tell us a little bit about that. No, how challenging was that, and why did you feel it was so important for you to be able to do that?
Well, as Lisa mentioned, we had to partition our gatherings. For example, one of our traditional the traditional things that we do every Christmas is putting up our Christmas tree. When we all gather, all children and grandchildren, we decorate the Christmas tree with ornaments and decors that belong to each one of them throughout the years. I mean, we've had this same Christmas tree now for many, many years. And so putting up the Christmas tree is like looking at our family tree. But the past two Christmases, we have had to divide, like, okay, the first night, Lisa and her family, then the second night, Joe and his family, something like that. So, but it's still meaningful to us. And so it's important to keep that tradition going despite the global challenges.
A Christmas tree and a family tree. We'll be back after this very quick break with Jose Marichan and his children. Be right back.
Oh, anyari sa'yo? Ba't nakasimangot ka? Alam ko na. Masakit ang katawan mo, ano? Sa sobrang trabaho? O di kaya masakit ang ulo sa sobrang stress? Break ka muna. Hinga ng malalim at imasahe ang ulo mo gamit ang Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Ako rin ganun eh. Kaya pag mataas ang tensyon sa trabaho, mag-Herbalaya break ka muna.
Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Amoy na kaaya-aya. Sa bawat pahid ay ginhawa.
Through proper diet, exercise, and MX3 capsule, I am ready to serve. Kasi para sa Panginoon, hindi lang ako fourth runner-up. First place ako sa puso niya.
Mahalagang paalala, ang MX3 capsule ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamiting panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
May pagbabago man sa dekorasyon, sa pangangaroling, at sa simoy ng selebrasyon. Ang maiiwan na damang-dama ay sarap ng Pasko na buong-buo. Sa Paskong Pure Foods, sarap na hatid ng Pure Foods Noche Buena. Sa Paskong Pure Foods, sarap na dala ng pamilyang bumubuo sa Pasko. Sa Paskong Buong Pasko sa Paskong Pure Foods. Kay dami mong pinagdaanan, ngayon pa ba susukuan? Kung lahat tayo'y nabibigatan, sama-sama natin tong lagpasan. Sa bawat laban, hinebra tayo. At sa pag-ahon, hinebra tayo. Sa huling patak ng bagong tapang, pagsubok mo ay malalampasan. Sasama-samang huling patak, tuwid-tindig ang bagong tapang.
Lalaban hanggang sa huling patak, para sa pangarap, para sa pamilya,
Para sa bayan.
hanggang sa huling patak, para sa One Never Nation.
Christmas time comes around, I become a child again. Something about it just makes me feel young, like a child again. The time of year when there's magic in the air. Wherever I go, love is streaming everywhere. The people I meet on the street, I wanna greet them with a cheer. The first sign of Christmas begins on the first December morn. The reason for the season is baby Jesus being born. Forgive the hurts and disappointments of the past, and let us renew the ties with friends and make them last. It's great to be a child again at Christmas and all through the year. Time of year when there's magic in the air. Wherever I go, love is streaming everywhere. The people I meet on the street, I wanna greet them with a cheer. Forgive the hurts and disappointments of the past. Have your friends and make them laugh. Be a child at Christmas and all through the year.
Welcome back to this CNN Philippines Christmas tradition. Jose Marichan, or Tito Joe, to me and to many, and his children, Liza, Joe, Michael Franco, and Angelica, are joining us here in this Christmas special. So this question will go first to the Chan siblings, and I want to begin with those who are joining us via Zoom. So that would be Joe, Michael Franco, and Angelica. In the past Christmas episodes, our specials, I would always ask you about what were your Christmases like when you were kids, and you would make kwento about New York, for example, di ba? And so many other places. But now my question is, what kind of Christmases do you give your own children?
What we do still is the Advent calendar. So our youngest still gets excited every day to open the door for that day. So, for example, December 15th, what is the surprise lurking behind the door of December 15th? And so it's a countdown until you reach December 24. So that's a tradition that continued with our kids as well.
Franco muna. Franco, what about you?
Well, naturally, I think you do what you know, right? So I think I've unconsciously been replicating the childhood I've had with my dad and my mom. For the childhood that I'm sort of giving to my daughter, and as my little growing family. I guess that's how traditions are made, no? I guess if I were to say that sort of togetherness, following the theme that Dad said, if togetherness has always been sort of a tradition, whether happy or sad, stupendous, or even simple ones, all of them are special, and I think that is one tradition that that I definitely am imparting, and I want my kid daughter to sort of get used to. No choice. Yeah.
Okay, well, Michael and Angelica pala don't have kids yet.
Not yet. That's right.
Pero madadagdagan din yan, yung 8 grandkids. So we're going to go to Liza now. Liza, tell us.
Well, when I was growing up, as you know, I grew up in New York, and it was really just our immediate family. And so a big part of my Christmas were the religious traditions. So since my eldest was a young kid, I would bring him with me to Simbang Gabi, Misa de Gallo, and I think my kids still look forward to that excitement of they're tired, but then I wake them up and I say, we have to go. And then I try to involve them also with serving. It's better this Christmas because we're actually able to go to physical mass. Because I think really, I want to stress with my children that that's the most important reason for the season, right? I mean, it's not about the commercial Christmas, so we still do that.
That's true. Tito Joe, this Christmas, well, kanina you said na nga, no, you'd always have to like divide up the family, no? So Lisa's family first and Joe's for another on other different nights. But this Christmas, what is it going to be like? Will you get together with the kids and the grandkids? Of course, given the pandemic, and then we have this new variant coming in. What are your plans?
Well, I always stress upon my children that, especially because of this pandemic, the realization that the spirit of Christmas is giving and sharing. And so what better way, what better time to live that spirit of Christmas than now, because a lot of our people are suffering, a lot of people are unemployed, underemployed. And so in fact, in one of my songs that we all sang together, there's a portion there that Franco sang and I will let him now recite the words to that stanza of I remember my Christmas when we went around. Frank, why don't you?
Yeah, it goes like that. It goes. I remember my Christmas when we went around.
Wait, why are you reciting it? Sing it na. Come on. Let's hear that chant
I remember
voice.
my Christmas when we went around. My daddy drove us down to some orphans in town. We gave lots of goodies away. Lots of happy faces made our day. We learned that giving and sharing is the real Christmas way.
Wow, giving and sharing, the real Christmas way. We'll have more on this CNN Philippines Christmas tradition with Joe Mari Chan and his children on Newsnight. Stay with us.
Anyari sa'yo? Ba't nakasimangot ka? Alam ko na. Masakit ang katawan mo, ano? Sa sobrang trabaho? O di kaya masakit ang ulo sa sobrang stress? Break ka muna. Hinga ng malalim at imasahe ang ulo mo gamit ang Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Ako rin ganun eh. Kaya pag mataas ang tensyon sa trabaho, mag-Herbalaya break ka muna.
Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Amoy na kaaya-aya. Sa bawat pahid ay ginhawa.
For my babies, only vet-approved Nutri-Chunks puppies. The only one with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat with essential nutrients to help them grow strong and healthy. Happiness! Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks puppies.
Thank you, Mommy. Ano ba ang Paskong Pilipino? Ang Pasko para sa ating mga Pinoy, parang gold medal. Dahil ito yung pinaka-espesyal na okasyon para sa ating mga Pilipino, saman tayo naroroon. At para sa akin, extra special ang Pasko ngayon kasi nanalo ako ng gold medal sa Olympics. Medyo mahirap, pero kinaya. At yun nga, posible. At sobrang saya ko kasi nakita ko ang saya ng bawat Pilipino nung nanalo ako ng gold medal. Totoo. Iba ngayon ang Pasko dahil hindi tayo makapagsama-sama. Mabigat man sa damdamin, kaya nating buhatin. Siguradong mas tumatag pa ang ating samahan dahil matapang tayong nagtutulungan sa pagbangon. Kaya dapat lamang na ituloy itong masayang selebrasyon. Yan ang Paskong Pilipino. At syempre, para kumpleto ang handaan, dapat kasama ang Ginebra San Miguel. Kaya mga kabarangay, masaya natin pagdiwang ang Kapaskuhan kasama ang Ginebra San Miguel. Isang ganadong Pasko para sa ating lahat.
Well, the pandemic has forced us to value what is really important. So the question here is, what gifts are you giving this Christmas? I know earlier you said, Tito Jo, what's really important about Christmas. But can you share with us what gifts are you giving each other, if that's if that's okay? Tito Jo, you first.
Okay, so kids, what are you going to give mommy and daddy this Christmas?
Baliktad. Oo nga naman. Sige. No, dapat Michael and Angelica should answer that question first. Sige nga, Michael. What are you going to surprise them with? Clue na lang, clue.
Well, I was just talking to Mike about it. And perhaps just the gift of time and presence.
Oh, that's nice.
Given how many people are suffering everywhere, all over the world, especially many of our countrymen. At least in my case, I will be giving donations to charity or gifts in kind. And again, time spent, especially with those that I haven't seen in very, very long. I think that this pandemic has taught us the importance of being present and there for each other in this time of crisis.
So nicely said. Michael.
Yeah, Pia. there are certain charities and foundations which are very close to the hearts of my dad and my mom. So even more now than ever, during this pandemic, it's important to support these charities and foundations, which will really have a very positive impact on those who are going through a lot of difficulties now. So I think that'll be more meaningful to our parents this time.
I love how your dad redirects the questioning. Tamang-tama eh. So Franco, can you answer that question?
Yeah, very similar also. I mean, not charities definitely. Maybe a lot of them focus on the children because Christmas really is for the children as well. But I think another factor is that a lot of our religious institutions, many of especially our parishes and in churches haven't had masses in a long time, and for many times a lot of the donations there and the alms. They get a lot from just people who attend mass, and since we haven't had that in such a long time, we make sure to remember them. So many times, I think through the example of mom and dad, we would oftentimes give them donations in their name. So I guess the surprise is which donation will it be, or which charitable
Which
institution
charity?
will be
Yeah.
this year.
You guys are so sweet. Joe. The younger Joe,
Yeah, I would say the same also, Pia. A practice among our titas and titos has been recently that in lieu of Christmas gifts, if we could donate to a charity of their choice, of their choosing. And so that has been actually a lot of the gifts that we've been giving this December to the less fortunate.
And Liza, I'm sure you're going to say the same thing, but there's also an added layer here because, like your other brother, one of your kids is abroad, no? So
Yes.
ibang klaseng Christmas to.
Yes. That's my son. Unfortunately, will not be with us this year. He will be the missing member of the family. So
don't cry.
Yeah. Thank God though for technology.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I studied abroad after college, I would be counting my quarters or my to feed into the the pay telephone, right?
Yeah.
But now we're spoiled. And so yesterday I spoke with my son and I was saying, well, how are you? And did you do this and make sure that you pay for this bill? And then he just mentioned very casually, oh yeah, I spoke with Lolo and Lola. They called me and they call me regularly and they're asking how I am. So at least we feel reassured that we have that, because it's hard to travel now with the pandemic, right? You have quarantine and then testing, and so it makes it prohibitive to travel as easily as we used to do before.
Well, thank God for technology, like you said, no? I mean, the very thing that we thought kept us apart before the pandemic is the one that's keeping us together. So thank you for that, especially in pag-Christmas time, no? When it's so important for Filipino families to be together, families all over the world, syempre. Final words na lang from Tito Joe. We'd love to hear from you, your Christmas message.
Well, I really hope and pray that this pandemic will soon be over. So I keep praying to Saint Joseph and to Mother Mary to help us. But anyway, I want to go back to your question. And the first thing that I, want to do is to protect the people working for us, our employees. They're the first that you have to. And then, of course, you also help your parish churches. I'm talking now to the audience. Your parish churches need your help much more than ever. So I want to wish everyone a truly blessed Christmas, complete with God's loving blessings of good health, prosperity, and joy in your hearts. And I really hope, Pia, that this election we will be able to choose a leader with the help of God, that the leader who will have the vision to lift our country so that our people will have productive and better lives.
Thank you so much. Mr. Jose Marichan or Tito Joe, thank you very much and a Merry Christmas to you and to your children, of course, Liza, who's here in the studio, Joe, Michael, Franco, and Angelica. This has been a CNN Philippines Christmas tradition with Jose Marichan and his children here on Newsnight.
Is wearing a smile on its face, setting the world aglow. Christmas is blessing some old lonely place with all the gifts to show.
Carols that float in the air day and night, and candles that burn with a warm, friendly light. But more, even more than all the above, I know this is true. Each day of the year can be Christmas if love is the gift from you.
When the season comes to an end,
and the New Year's just round the bend,
though they'll take down the tree as always,
and the bright trimming off the hallways, Christmas will linger for always. Let love be the gift from you. That float in the air day and night, and candles that burn with a warm, friendly light. But more, even more than all the above, I know this is true. Each day of the year can be Christmas if love is the gift from you.
When the season comes to
just round the bend,
though they'll take down the tree as always,
and the bright trimming off the hallways, Christmas can linger the whole year through. It's you that can make this true. Let love be the gift from you.
O, anyari sa'yo? Ba't nakasimangot ka? Alam ko na. Masakit ang katawan mo, ano? Sa sobrang trabaho? O di kaya masakit ang ulo sa sobrang stress? Break ka muna. Hinga ng malalim at imasahe ang ulo mo gamit ang Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Ako rin ganun eh. Kaya pag mataas ang tensyon sa trabaho, mag-Herbalaya break ka muna.
Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Amoy na kaaya-aya. Sa bawat pahid ay ginhawa.
Ringo Honasan po. Sa pagbangon ng mga Pilipino, saludo ako sa mga taong patuloy na humaharap sa hamon ng pagbabago.
Bilang isang ina, handa akong gawin ang lahat para sa kaligtasan ng aking mga anak.
Pandemya man, tuloy pa rin ang serbisyo para malinis ang kapaligiran.
Serbisyong publiko para sa kaligtasan ng lahat.
Sa panahon ng krisis, ikaw, ako, magtulungan tayo. Ringo Honasan po. Saludo ako sa Pilipinas.
Davao, member, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
For the first time since May of last year, we are seeing less people who are testing positive